Hello Eric, what's up? Today is September 26th, 2013. Yeah, 26th. It is about 1 p.m. and by the way, that is an 11-hour time difference. So for you right now, it's 2 in the morning. Usually I get off work, I had a class this morning. Usually I get off work at about, I get home at about 10 o'clock. So at about 11 a.m. for you. If that's when you get off work, then yeah, that's perfect. But that strikes me as a bit strange unless you work through the night. I also haven't shaved since yesterday morning, although that's only been one day for me, since it is the morning now. Speaking of Russia, about the military, I really don't know. Of course, you can look on YouTube and find videos of them rolling, across the streets in tanks and whatnot, and obviously that happens because there's videos of it, but I've never seen it. It doesn't happen in big cities. I think it's just kind of out in smaller villages and less populated areas where they probably just get drunk and drive around because whatever, it's Russia, no one cares. It is, when I came back to America after my first trip to Russia, every time I heard any kid say anything about how corrupt the American government was, I wanted to pop them in the mouth. You have no idea how good you have it in America. You have no idea what a corrupt government is. Shut the hell up, you spoiled little brat. This is absolutely the most corrupt government on earth. Okay, well maybe not the most corrupt, but it's got to be in the top 10. There was even a thing on the news yesterday. I was even surprised it made it to the news because everyone knows it happens, and I don't know why they would bother. Like, update, we just found out this happens. You'd have to be an idiot if you didn't know. One of the bigger universities, it was like Moscow State University, like one of the biggest universities. It wasn't Moscow State, but it was something on that same size, that same level. They, if you don't want to go to university, you can just buy your diploma. And it was for like, I want to say like 800,000 rubles, which is, it's like $250,000. But still, it's the reason that people in other countries don't trust Russian diplomas, because you can just buy them. And even if you don't buy them, that's like an official one, like from the actual school representatives. You can go down to the metro station and buy one from some homeless guy that looks exactly the same and no one can tell the difference, and they never research it to see if it's real or not. You can go down and spend a few hundred rubles, maybe $20, and get a diploma in the metro. It's just ridiculous. As for the police, it is one of the more popular professions because it empowers you to steal from people, and there's nothing they can do about it because you're police. And they are entirely corrupt. I've met a few good cops here, but not many. Most of them will accuse you of crimes that you obviously didn't commit just to get a bribe from you because they want some extra money in their pocket today. It is always best in Russia, if you see police, to go the opposite direction and quickly. Just avoid them whenever possible. Don't even show them your real papers. Always carry photocopies because they'll steal them, and then you have to pay them to get them back, which is really terrible. As for women, you mentioned subjugation, and I would not at all put it in those words. What Americans see as subjugation is actually just a different way of life. It's not in any way bad. Different does not equal bad. It is certainly dramatically different, though. There are much more stereotypical gender roles here. Women typically are housewives. They will usually have a part-time job just to stave off boredom mostly. And they don't typically earn a lot of money. And there's nothing wrong with that. They typically, having taught in a college, a lot of the girls wouldn't pay attention because whatever, they're going to get married and be a housewife, so they don't need to have good grades in college. Now, that's not always true. A lot of them do, go on to universities and graduate and get good jobs. But it still seems to me, and I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this, but it seems to me like most women are still happy just being housewives. There's nothing keeping them doing that. If they want to go to university and get a job, that's their choice. They can do it if they want to. They're not in any way oppressed. They enjoy taking care of their families, taking care of their husband, having a family. They look forward to it. They want to do that. And what you don't always hear about is the flip side of that. If a woman's going to come home after, either if either she's going to spend the day cleaning and cooking, or if she does have a part-time job and she's going to come home and cook and clean, you damn well better be doing something to deserve, her taking care of you. Men, on the other side, that you never hear about, are required to be the provider. You need to be a real man. If you don't, okay, this is going to sound terrible when I say this, but you don't ask what, of course you should ask, what does she want to do, but you are the one that makes the decisions. You're supposed to be the firm upper hand. If you want to go out and she says, no, I don't want to, you're supposed to say, we're leaving in 10 minutes. And that really, I guess, saying that to people in America, they're going to think it's awful. But women really, you don't tell them what to do, but you tell them what's happening. I don't know how to say that without it sounding awful. But like they really, time and again, I've tried to be respectful and just say, well, what do you want to do? And they say, I don't know, what do you want to do? And I've seen this happened to me with 2 different girls that I dated from Russia, where they lost respect for me because I wasn't a firm enough hand. I didn't tell them what we were doing. I just went, whatever. Being an American doesn't fly here. You have to be manly. You're supposed to be the breadwinner. You're supposed to pay for the flat. I do. I pay for this flat entirely. My job does. The utilities and everything, the internet, and so I pay for the house and she takes care of it. It's certainly different, and a lot of people might say that it's bad, but I kind of like the knowing what my responsibilities are. I mean, I don't always let her do all the cooking and cleaning, of course. She doesn't let me cook because I'm a decent cook in America. I really am. She doesn't believe me. But trying to cook American foods with Russian ingredients just doesn't work for me. Everything I've tried to prepare was just awful. I admit it. I can do eggs, and I can cook spaghetti and grechka. Which, by the way, grechka, it's like buckwheat. It's amazing. I love it. I'm actually having it for lunch today. It's buckwheat. Anyways, speaking of other Russian foods, obviously Lay's has different flavors in different countries. In Russia they have Lay's, like traditional Lay's, and they also have like sour cream and onion, which, well, we also have that. They have crab, they have bacon. Why do we not have bacon flavored Lay's in America? Maybe we do now. I've been gone a few years. They have this one, which is leche по-домашнему. It's like homemade salsa, which is really popular in Russia. Like, they make their own salsa from like tomatoes and peppers, and I'll show you my refrigerator, which first I'll show you that, which is just awesome and rather patriotic for someone that is an expatriate, I suppose. And then we have, like, this is, that's not actually, but here, this is leche. It's like a homemade salsa. This bottle actually was purchased, but then it's been reused. This was made by Maria's mother. Very tasty stuff. Morkov ostraya, carrots, spicy. It's really, really popular. They mix it with kukuruza, sladka, sweet corn, with mayonnaise and, like, I don't know what to call them, sukhadiki. It's like, they're kind of like croutons, like spicy croutons to make salads. Russians are crazy about their salads. I've got a few of them in here already. And sardina, sardines, obviously. Champagne. We were actually supposed to drink that the other day when we moved into the new flat and never did. It's really popular. Everyone in Russia makes this leche, this salsa, and they have chips. It's actually their brand new flavor. Every year they come out with 1 or 2 new flavors, and that's the new one this year. So it's been, I really liked that flavor. They've also got mushrooms and sour cream. They've got green onions and chives. They've got the other new one this year is mashed potatoes with dill, which sounds strange, but it's amazing. Both of the new flavors this year are really, really delicious. What else do they have? Oh, they have, I always forget this word in English. Why can I never remember this? Caviar. They've got a new one. It's called red caviar. That's, caviar flavored Lay's. Kind of strange, but they're tasty. But I think bacon is probably one of my favorites. They also, because drinking is so amazingly popular here, even compared to American standards. They even have lays that are just for eating while you're drinking alcohol. That they have special beer flavored lays, like that are you're supposed to eat them with beer. Um, but what else? Oh, about WoW. I regret to inform you. I told you that we would be re-rolling on a new server about 2 months ago when we first started talking about doing these videos, and we picked a new server, Area 52, and I played there for about a month and a half, and you never logged on, and I leveled a character to 87, 2 to 86, 1 to 70, and twinked him out in level 70 armor, and then 2 level 60s, and twinked them out at level 60 armor. And then I got bored playing by myself, and I regret to inform you I quit WoW. I've gone back to EVE Online. Spaceships, pew pew. I played it years ago, and I've taken up playing it again, and it's a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying it tremendously. There's only one server, so I guess I can't tell you what server I'm on. But and I'm not going to say where I am, because anybody that watches that plays EVE can find me and kill me, although they don't know my name, so I guess it's not really possible. But sorry, I just kind of got bored with WoW, honestly. Maybe it was because I was playing by myself again, and I don't know. But I'm not on there anymore. Regarding Ian, no, never. I will never forgive that man. He was the reason that we did not speak for years. He can apologize up and down till he's blue in the mouth. I will never forgive him. The reason we didn't speak was because you were angry at me, thinking that I had done something to you that he did. He told you that I did something, and his actions were, it was an act of betrayal, it was an act of treason, and it was an act of genuine cruelty, and I will never forgive him for tearing us apart for years. Never. I can get over you believing him when he said that I did those things, but no, he betrayed my trust, and I'm not going to forgive him for that. If you want to hang out with him, that's cool, but I will never forgive him for separating my brother from me for years. It's not going to happen. If he was in the military too, he should be lined up against the wall and shot. And if you're watching this, Ian, I don't apologize for that. What you did was awful, and I don't expect me to forgive you for it. Not going to happen. On that note, that was an awesome note to end on. So I don't know how much Russian you know. I'll squeeze in one more thing before I disconnect. For the day, I mean, when I show you that sign, Лечо по-домашнему, I don't know if you can read that or not. I remember there was a few weeks ago where I said something, it was about пирожок, and you knew the word, and so I wouldn't expect someone that had only knew a few words in Russian to know that one, so I'm curious exactly how much you know. Do you only know the alphabet? I mean, what kind of vocabulary do you remember from your grandmother? I guess the only thing I guess I can start teaching you some Russian words if you like. All I can think of right now, honestly, looking out the window at the rain, is dozhd, which means rain. It's D-O-J-D, dozhd. Other than that, I really... There's a clock, часы, which is the same as watch, часы, which is a little bit confusing. I could just start naming things off to you in the kitchen right now, but it wouldn't be really... Yeah. Chair is easy to remember. Chair is stool, the same as like a bar stool, so rather similar. Stool, and a table is stol, like S-T-O-O-L is chair, and S-T-O-L is table. Those are easy to remember. That's all for today. I'm just teaching you random words that are not in any way useful and you'll probably never use, so I'm not going to continue down that road any further. As for you questions, I don't know what I can ask you about because of the security of your job. I have seen the helicopters landing and taking off, so I know what you're talking about. It is amazing. It's awe-inspiring. I've seen them. So you don't need to go into detail or try to film that for me. I worked at an airfield. I worked for a vending company, and I worked at an airfield occasionally, and I got to see Blackhawks landing, being charged, and taking off again. And then also near my house, when I was living in Alabama, there was an Air Force base just to the east near Pensacola that I would go to either when I was going to the airport in Pensacola or to Pensacola Beach at the weekends, and I got to see vertical takeoffs and then taking off, re-angling the jets and whatnot. Really awesome stuff. I always loved watching that. They fly like right over the highway, like no more than 100 meters off the ground. It's ridiculous. Speaking of at the weekend, I've started speaking British English apparently. I'm not saying on the weekend, I said at the weekend, because that's how they say it in British, and I've been teaching British too long. I'm learning British English and I'm forgetting American English. It's corrupting my English, or purifying, I guess they would see it, but whatever. Anyways, glad we're finally getting the videos done every day. I keep hitting my leg and shaking the camera. Glad we're finally doing the videos frequently. It's good to hear your voice again. Glad everything is going well for you. Surprise me. Do something, I don't want to say I would do anything ridiculous, but I don't know what to ask you about right now. I can't think of any questions on the spot, so I'll hit you back later. But I love you, good to hear from you, and take care, sir. Peace. I can't turn it off!